If you hear the guard dog, it's barking at me because in Trump's America, we women aren't allowed to make movie reviews anymore of any kind. I'm O'Reilly and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 1 of Fred. It is directed by Reed Moreno, written by Bruce Miller. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode starts, we're following a lady, a man, and a daughter of theirs, and they're being hunted down by a bunch of guards, a bunch of guns about to get them. There are crucial mistakes that this woman makes at the very beginning of the episode. She's hiding her daughter, and it seems like they found a really good hiding spot. Instead of waiting for the guards to be clear of the area, she instead decides to just run off when there's no sign that the guard's gonna go down to where they're at. Why didn't she wait? She should have waited like 10 minutes. But of course, because of her impatience, the guards spot her because they can hear her because they're right next to her, and they go get her, and then they kidnap the kid. And because of this, she is now deemed a sex slave. We're now in a society where women are infertile, so now we're in this hyper-conservative world. We live in a world where the state and religion have mixed, and now women are supposed to be properties of the state and assigned to men who are the highest bidder. There's a few examples of this world being brutal. There's this class that all the sex slaves have to go through, and there's this one who's like, screw you. And of course, her eye gets taken out as a punishment. And that one actually turns out to get pregnant more faster than the other ones. And she's in a state of, just having a good time, enjoying my life. It seems like she's the only one having a fun time. Including the people who own the sex slaves, by the way. There's a scene where Fred is being sexed upon, and it looks like the wife of the commander, because they're called commanders, the people who own the sex slaves, they're called commanders. The wives of those commanders aren't having any fun. The commanders themselves seem like they're not having any fun. It just looks like it's an obligation. And then the sex slave is not having any fun. So I'm like, how would this work? Who does this benefit? Humans chase pleasure. There's no pleasure in this. This is not going to last long whatsoever. And it seems like it's been only a few years since this reform, so I'm like, okay, you're really going to expect people going to just become sex slaves just like that? And people are going to allow the government to get that bad to the point where they have sex slavery? I don't believe it. There's a man who allegedly raped a pregnant lady handmaid, so all the handmaids go in a circle, they got the man in the center, and they're like, on my mark, you can go kick him to death. And so all the handmaids do, they just go brutally beat him. I'm like, okay. This seems to be a woman-positive society, but we're enslaving them? Wait, what? Why? This doesn't make any sense logically. Who made this story? A woman? Oh yeah, Margaret Atwood. Haha, that's a woman's name. Only a woman would make a society this confusing and not make any sense. I'm watching this first episode, I'm like, man, this is clearly a sex fantasy. A woman wants this done to her because all women don't want to make decisions. Come on, man. Like, if you really had to choose, you would choose to have somebody else make all your decisions. It's just easier. But you don't have somebody else make your decisions because they're going to do it poorly. But if you were relying on somebody who's going to make the decisions for you goodly and had your best interest in mind, you would give up your decisions to them. And this seems to be that type of world. These women aren't allowed to read, they're not allowed to socialize. Well, they are allowed to talk to each other in weird coded language like, praise be thy Lord. I don't remember the other ones, they were just kind of stupid. And everyone's supposed to be talking this weird coded fancy language now, and I'm like, yeah. I wouldn't live in this world because if I had to be forcefully taken, I would simply get shot because I'd be talking my mind. I'd be like, hey, I don't want to speak in this weird coded language. Fred vows to herself, I'm gonna find my daughter. I'm gonna survive to find her. Fred is going to stick it out to find her daughter any way that she can. So I'm like, okay, so obviously somewhere in the later seasons there's going to be some sort of revolution, because obviously this is a stupid societal plan that wasn't going to last long. Only a sadist would implement this, and most people aren't sadists, so most people wouldn't want to deal with this. And the fact that they are means that, oh geez, whoever is implementing this is going to die eventually, and then when they die, then society is going to go into total collapse. The colors of this episode, very grim, desaturated, all the heck. Very boring clothing options and colors that they chose. I think red is supposed to represent romance and sex and passion. That's usually what the color is used for in media, but the sex slaves, they're literally just wearing red, because that's all they're good for, is for sex, I guess. And fertility is a gift. Oh no, the police are coming for me because I'm reviewing a movie. Oh no, I better come fast. I gotta go fast because I don't want to get arrested in Trump's America. There's so many holes and gaps in society that I can't imagine it would ever happen. And it's just so grim and dark, and it's supported in lighting. We got the daylight scenes that are dark. How can you get daylight scenes dark? It's just so dark and gloomy. It's just represented, and all the colors are desaturated and all the filming's desaturated. I'm gonna let you know first though, in Trump's America, we're getting close to Handmaid's Tale. So, on a scale of not at all Handmaid's Tale to extreme Handmaid's Tale, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we at right now for episode 1? I'd place this at a 1. This isn't happening right now. Not in America anyway. In other countries they are, but not in Trump's America. But if anything changes, you'll be the first to know. Me, of Riley, will let you know. So I gotta give this episode. It establishes a world that is flawed. It is very flawed with how they thought of it too. The author who created this world, not the actual society. The society doesn't make sense, so it's the author's fault. Of course, all problems caused by women. Makes sense. I gotta give this episode, it's a solid 6.7 out of 10. I'm of Riley, and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 2, Birthday. It is directed by Reed Morano, written by Bruce Miller. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode follows Of Fred. She's walking to the grocery store with Of Glenn. Of Glenn tries to recruit her in this rebel movement against the government. They're also talking about how all the cathedrals are being destroyed and the government is just trying to erase it. So it makes me think, so this isn't a religious extremist thing. This seems to be purely about fertility rates. This is further supported by a few things. That chick who had her eye gouged out last episode and she became pregnant, she's now giving birth this episode, and all of the handmaids are there just trying to help her out. It seems like a weird cult. It gives me that vibe because it's so much like, yes, breathe, you got this, relax, stuff like that. They're trying to help her give birth to this baby. And this scene made me realize, oh, this is so much about fertility rates. Healthy babies are hard to find. Oh, Fred is really lucky that she even had a daughter. She had a daughter during the time in which the birth rates were going way down, and a chick within the hospital broke into the infirmary and stole her baby, and she had to be talked down into giving back the baby. It was a really scary moment. I was like, oh, nobody wants to partake in this society because it sucks. But it sucks because it's so necessary. They're trying so hard to have babies. Have they figured out what's causing the infertility? This show hasn't explicitly mentioned what has caused the infertility necessarily. It just alludes to there being lower birth rates. So it makes me think, is it on the woman's side or is it on the male side? Is it both? Is it neither? Is it exercise? Is it diet? Do you need more or less or both or neither? What's causing this birth decline? We're at the point where the government has to get themselves involved in the whole baby creation process, in the structure of the society in order to make more babies. Maybe you guys are just having too much soy in your diet. Can you guys get rid of the soy? Honestly, they just eat a lot of natural products. So I'm thinking maybe if they've done a lot of trial and error to try to decide what has caused the decline of the babies. And it's not because people are choosing not to have babies. I think the same amount of people are choosing to have babies and they're failing to reproduce. And maybe it's like 1 out of 100 people have babies versus like 1 out of 10, I guess. The commander also wants to see her alone. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to see the commanders alone. And so she's really scared. She's talking off Glenn about it. Off Glenn's like, oh, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right, okay? By the way, do you want to join the rebel group? She's like, no, please, I don't want to get involved. Turns out the game with the commander is just Scrabble. I like the internal dialogue. She's like, oh yeah, we were so close in the Scrabble game, but that's because I let him win. I'm like, if that's true, good on you, so he's not embarrassed, but also, I doubt that's true. I mean, I know you're really smart. She's like incredibly smart. What type of smart is she? Is she word smart? Is she street smart? Is she science smart? Is she art smart? What type of smart is she? This episode just goes to show that she's observant, but I'm excited to see what type of smart that she is. I'm excited to learn more about this society. Is this Trump's America? On a scale of 1 to 10, definitely not. 1. It's a 1. People are having children. Nobody's having a hard time having children except for those who would already have a hard time having children. Not adding to the number of people having a hard time having children, making that lump sum bigger and making it more of a problem. No, those people are still having a hard time having children. Nothing's happening. We're in Trump's America and I haven't noticed any shenanigans against women yet, but I'll keep you updated on the shenanigans against women in Trump's America in the Handmaid's Tales reviews. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The colors are very grim and dark. It seems like a lot of the colors and hues are in the shadows. A lot of the hues chosen are kind of darker in tone. There's a lot of lightness, like a lot of bright colors chosen, but they're so in the shadows that it's hard to tell. You just have to like observe. It's like this used to be a nice society, but now they're just so bleak, except for in the moment in which this chick gives birth. Very bright. It is halo glowing effect. This is the only time in the episode which this happens. It's just super glowy, which leads me to think that this is what they ultimately, what they believe in, what they value, what they strive for is to have more babies. Oh my goodness, this woman is delivering a baby. This is the best moment in this society because nobody's having babies. They're all gonna rejoice. They're all gonna have a big ol' woohoo, jubilee. That's what it's called, a jubilee. But everything else about the society just sucks. The only happy part in the society is when they have babies. That's literally it. That's it. This is a fun episode. There's a lot of world building. Of course, this world is incredibly dark. Hands off to the creation of the world, adding more world building on top of this previous episode, which led me with a lot of questions, and I feel like a decent amount of my questions have been answered from that first review, but new ones have popped up. I feel like Off-Fred noticing that at the very end of the episode, Off Glenn has been replaced with another Off Glenn, but it's a chick, but her name's Off Glenn. Her friend Off Glenn's gone. The new chick Off Glenn's here. She's like, oh no. I think this moment is going to make her question everything around her. It's going to make her look more and more into becoming a rebel until she ends up leading the rebel society. That's my prediction for this series. Let me know what you think of this series. Let me know what you think of this reveal. Let me know if you've seen any of The Handmaid's Tale or if I'm cracking the ice in this review series. I gotta give this one. It's a solid 7.1 out of 10. I'm O'Reilly and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 3, late. It is directed by Reed Morano, written by Bruce Miller. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. I was watching this episode and oh boy, the world building really sucks. And I'll tell you why. This episode starts with Off Glenn. She's been put in this really white room with a bunch of guards. And my first thought is, oh, it must be because she's part of the resistance. Later on, we find out because she's gay. And they're not allowed to use the word gay anymore. We also learn that the chick who gave birth last episode episode, she bit the chick who was trying to handle her baby, the wife of the commander. Just went and bit her. Okay, I guess. You're gonna get shot, you're gonna get killed for that. So Offred's like, well, I guess I'm gonna go talk to her and see what's up. Why did you do that? Because she just yanked the baby from me while she was breastfeeding, and the baby wasn't done feeding and she just took her. Rightfully so, Offred's like, you can't just bite people. It's obvious that this chick, this pregnant woman now with the baby, she's like, I can do anything I want because I can be fertile and I can give babies. Offred didn't tell her this, but Offred listened to a conversation where she wanted to get rid of this handmaid because she bit her. She's like, as soon as she's done feeding the baby, I'm gonna have the baby and I'm not gonna deal with this chick. Do you not understand the role in society that you have? So I expect either in an episode or two that chick is gonna go away. Also, I liked how that was filmed. Also, the blocking too. The camera's in a really dark lit room. Offred looks really dark, but this chick, she's standing right next to this window and it's very bright. And she's talking about, oh man, me and my commander, we're gonna run off together. We were talking about that. He loves me. And it's like very optimistic, not at all how this society works whatsoever. And Offred is in the darkness because she's like, oh no, bad stuff's gonna happen to you and you don't even know it. Versus the light glow on the other chick, she's optimistic and very naive. It also goes to show that the commanders at least want to learn more about the people that they're impregnating. As I watch more and more in this episode, I'm like, oh, the men don't even want to partake in this. Nobody's enjoying it. The Marthas aren't enjoying it. We learn a social class lower than the handmaids, which are the Marthas. They're essentially just slaves. The Marthas don't enjoy it. The handmaids don't enjoy it. The commanders and their wives don't enjoy it. So who enjoys it? The people who enjoy it are mean, old, very angry women, very infertile, who are fake Christian, who use Christianity as a way to abuse people underneath them. Melanie Mac types. That's who's enjoying this type of society, Melanie Mac types. I know that this episode is like, oh, the authoritarians, they were boiling everybody into this position right now. And there's flashbacks in this episode from after the fall. So you're going to give me flashbacks from after the fall and then the currentness is right now? Can you please give me what led to this? But no, it just seems like lazy writing. They just want to make it so, oh, some fertility virus is taken over, so authoritarian governments can abolish the Constitution. And the way that it's framed is like the women didn't read the news at all when it was happening. I would be notified if the Constitution was abolished. I'd be like, what is going on? I'm going to protest right now. And there would be so much fighting before then. I know what's happening in current climate right now. Even in this polarized society, it is not like this fictional society, Handmaid's Tale, because nobody's enjoying any of this. There's nothing enjoyable about any of this. The people in power don't enjoy this. And nobody cares about babies. There's a scene where the wife of the commander is talking to Offred, and she's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a nice little beautiful boy. It's gonna be a great time. Woohoo! Oh, there's a baby crying. How about you go take care of it? It's just like nannies until a certain point, and then he can raise them, I guess. Is that what's happening in the society? Also, the way that they have masks on, they quote gender traitors, aka the Offglen, who turned out to be gay. And by the way, Offred is being interrogated for this now. The state's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have one of our servants drive you in a car. You're gonna go to this house and we're gonna have a good old time. First of all, bring out the taser. Bzzz, just, tase. And then the woman who is interrogating, she looks like she's enjoying it, but only in the way that you can enjoy anything in this society, which is not really at all. This lady gets offended that Offred fulfills the full Bible quote instead of just saying the blessed be my meek. She says blessed be my meek, blah blah blah, essentially, which is the opposite meaning of how they're using it. And then she gets tased for it. So like, oh, you're using Christianity as like a shield to do bad authoritarian things, like Melanie Mac. You're using Christianity as a shield to be a terrible person, like Melanie Mac. Those are the types of people that are running this. And if you're watching this sometime in the future, and Melanie Mac, her existence doesn't exist anymore because she's washed out, then good. You don't need to know her. If you watch this episode and see the person tasing Offred, that's who Melanie Mac is internally. That's her soul. And she's going to hell. It also seems like the women, they have such violent tendencies. Some of the women don't, but the women's in positions of power, the ones who are infertile, they are so angry. They just want to abuse other women. The men don't even want to abuse the women. This society is about women who are bitter old hags who are infertile. They're upset that these pretty young fertile ladies are here having babies, having sex with their husbands, because that's the current social what's happening in society in this fictional world. It's so hard to engage with what's happening in this world because the world building is not that good. One thing will be set up and then I'm like, okay, cool, so this is happening. And then another thing gets set up but it's completely contradictory and it's like, okay, interesting. There's also the authoritarian government in the flashbacks that is taken over because of terrorists attacking the Capitol. What does that sound like to you? Oh yeah, and then they have some measures that sound like coronavirus measures, which is the closest that this real world that we're inhabiting, the closest that this real world gets to the fictional world in The Handmaid's Tale. In The Handmaid's Tale, they make it so women can't work anymore. Their masks just fire because it's a law now. The closest to that was when people couldn't go show up and work anymore because of coronavirus, so they had to work online. That's the closest we've ever gotten, and that has not at all been Trump's America whatsoever. And it's so funny that the marketing and the talk around this show is like, oh, this is Trump's America. I'm like, no, this is more like Biden's America, you idiots. If you're comparing them at all, and you can't compare them because it's a fictional world, and it makes no sense that any of this would happen because nobody in power is enjoying this. This society goes against all of humanity. There's no humanity in this. Humans search for pleasure. If you didn't enjoy things, you wouldn't be doing those things. And if you don't enjoy things, you do it because there's a promise for a better future. And that's why authoritarian regimes take hold in the first place. It's the grass is greener on the other side mentality. Oh, we're promising a better future. But this one didn't even establish that they were promising a better future. It just established, oh, well, we have a fertility crisis. It's time for us to just lock all the women up. Well, nobody's enjoying this whatsoever. And I freaking hate it. I just wish there was more world building. By episode 3, why am I still asking the question, who is voting for this? Who voted for this? Uh-oh, those are sirens. I better finish this up because it's after dark and I'm not allowed to be out here after dark. When Offred says to her commander's wife, hey, I'm not pregnant, even though she used, hey, she's pregnant against the chick who was tasing her. Hey, don't do that, you freaking, she's pregnant. And you know how much they love pregnant women. They worship pregnant women. So of course that old hag suddenly stopped. That chick just starts abusing her, like dragging her. Phew, you're no longer allowed to leave this room. But I'm like, bro, you guys were counting her period. She never mentioned that she was pregnant. You guys inferred that she was pregnant, and then when you guys were wrong, you punished her for it. You guys are absolutely evil. You guys are terrible people. And I know there are some terrible people in the world, but I don't believe there are this many terrible people and this many meek people for a society like this to exist. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention what happened to Off Glenn. So she got rehabilitated, and the Martha that she was kissing and having sex with, that Martha got hung. And the rehabilitation is just implied to be female genital mutilation, and guess who's taking the most pleasure out of it? That old hag who's insecure, who doesn't like that this chick, although she is a lesbian, she hates lesbians so much, but she's projecting everything that she hates about herself onto this lady who just happened to be gay, and so she's just being like, oh, I'm going to abuse you. Aha, looks like your genitals have been removed. Now it's going to be easier for you now. And it's like, don't people hate old hags who are bitter and hate everyone? Doesn't most of society hate those types of people already? How did they get in so much power? Who voted for this? This isn't even a good world building. Man, I'm gonna have to watch the rest of the series thinking who voted for this as the hysteria continues. And my prediction is that she's just going to rebel eventually. She's already kind of fighting with her words, and she's getting punished for it, but she's going to rebel. Don't watch this episode. Don't watch the series. This series is made for women, by women, for women. No man seems to be at all involved within the society, and if they are, they're all a bunch of little cucks. Where's the masculinity in this society? No man would let this stand. Men deal with reality in front of them, and women be like, oh, well, reality should be this instead, and this is that. That trait about men and women is the show, but this is the women's part. This is all made up. There's no like through line, well, what caused this, what caused this, what caused this. It skips to after the bad stuff's happened so they could just lazily not write what happened before. Freaking classic women, always wanting to be oppressed. Also, there's this idea in like feminism in this show is so strong. The family unit has already been removed. We got a friend of Offred in the flashback with her husband, and she's like, she's not your property. I'm like, don't you understand the wife-husband balance that has been for so long, for all these years, that has lasted civilizations many a time? Or male role, female role within like a gay couple, I don't care, but there are male and female roles. A woman is typically the master of the house. She has domain over the house. That is where she's powerful. The man takes care of the money, and he's like dealing with reality outside. That's the thing, that's what's happening. You split that up, and now you just have a bunch of single women thinking they can do whatever they want, but actually they're the domain of the house. They can do whatever they want around the house, but they have no basis of what is reality. Women don't know politics. This is an entirely political issue. Women writing politics is how you get this show, which is a show with not good world building whatsoever, with leaving me with many questions than it answers, leaving me with bad explanations. Oh, so the women, they just enacted a rule which women can't own any property and vote at all in one sweep, a secret law. Is that what they think is going to happen? No, that's not going to happen under Trump's America. Is that what really women think? Women are delusional, think so, or at least the ones who do. If you don't think that, then good on you. You exist within reality. But this fictional world definitely isn't Trump's America. In a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 0. Nobody's enjoying it, and the world building sucks. It's all dark and gloomy. Everything about this show is dark and gloomy, and it's not visually interesting. Ugh, I hate it. I've got to give this one, it's a 5 out of 10. I'm of Riley, and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 4, Some Latin Phrase. It is directed by Mike Barker, written by Leela Gerstein. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode picks off where this last episode left off. She's in the room, she's been banished. She notices something engraved in the wall in the closet, so she's laying on the closet. She's chilling. And the inner monologue is just so comically depressing. She reads it, she's like, what is this? The housekeeper, Martha, comes in, asks, why are you on the floor? She'd be like, oh, I fainted. Offred, you're being suspected of being sick now. And you thought that you would lie about being sick so you could be out in the rain? I also love how this episode is like, oh, this is so terrible. I hate being in solitude. Oh man, 2 hours of being in fresh rain with flowers. But the previous 3 episodes have shown her just walking about, and then complete neglect of being outside. I get that she's banished, but this episode doesn't establish a very good timetable. What I would do, if I want to establish time, I would have a lot of day and night shots of her going more and more insane, being in this secluded room, not talking to anybody. Maybe I could show it by many meals that she gets, or the days and nights of her and being in the bed, all that fun jazz. Or you could have a bunch of jump cuts just being in the room, and she's doing whatever. She's doing like push-ups, or she's just jumping, she's doing whatever. You could do that, anything to get a sense of time, but this episode doesn't establish that at all. And it doesn't make any attempt to during this entire episode. So by the end of this episode, I'm left confused. How long was this? The last episode doesn't say, oh, this is the last day of the ceremony, so you're going to be locked in here for a month. So it's either she was locked here for a month until her next fertile window, it was for a few days. And it's shown that the ceremony happens within like 5 days at like a set clock time. Speaking of the ceremony, it's a highly inefficient system. You have to arrive in a specific order to the room in order to have sex and intercourse. And by the time that the commander's there, he's not even hard, he's not even turned on. It's not sexy at all. No wonder you can't get anyone pregnant. You're allowing the least pleasurable thing ever to be the way you procreate. So humans are now procreating like pandas because of this. It'd be better if there was like a 5-day orgy where you got the commanders, they're just having sex with all the handmaids they can get, and then of course the partners are there. That'd be much more efficient as a fertility system. This society loves making babies, but doesn't do anything to help out the baby making process like whatsoever. Back to Offred though. She lied about being sick. Oh, I fainted. I got lightheaded and then I just was on the floor and I guess I passed out. So of course the housemaid goes to the commander and the commander's wife. The commander reacts when hearing, oh, she fainted. He's like, what? But the way that the wife reacts is like, oh, no, she's lying. Which makes me think, oh, every woman in this society hates each other. This is a society based on snitching on everybody, ratting people out, and there's no trust at all anywhere. So of course, instead of walking through the rain, by the way, it's downpouring rain, she instead gets a ride to the hospital. She's acting like she's so oppressed, but this is the logical thing to do. If you have a handmaid who says, oh, I fainted in the closet, then you would take them to the hospital and deny any attempt to walk through the rain where you could get soaking wet and get more sick. Oh, but I can't do anything I want, so that means I'm being oppressed. Concern does not equal oppression. Do women not understand this? This episode makes me think, what's the caste system like? It's also revealed that there is a class above the handmaids, and that's the aunts. But they're below the wives. Keep that aunt thing in mind. There's a lot of flashbacks. We have Offred is getting the teaching of how to be a handmaid, and she's got her friend there. I forgot the friend's name. But later on, the friend, you know what the friend does? They're like, oh, we can escape. The friend dresses up like an aunt, has aunt credential status, which by the way, it's established that in this society that the aunts are above the guards. If this is such an oppressive society, why are women considered higher in social status than blue-collar workers? Or not even that. What would you call like a security guard? They're higher than that. The aunts are higher than security guards. You can just flash a badge and take a handmaid. Oh, we're going. And they go down to the train station. We got the freaking handmaid. Offred is just standing there. And her friend is going up to some guards. Hey, where's the train to Boston? Completely unnecessary. You're at the train station. Just find anywhere. Just find a train to get on and then just ride it. If you're trying to escape, who cares if it's Boston? And the show doesn't do a very good job explaining why they're so interested in going to Boston. Offred's standing there. When the guard's coming down stairs right behind her, walking down, sees her, walks up to her, says, hey, you shouldn't be here alone. Who you with, right? Is concerned for her. Instead of, hey, I have this ID that I established that I show to guards and then they just go with it. Instead of doing that, they look at each other from 15 feet away. They're looking mournfully. Nobody is doing any pointing. Offred's not pointing to the aunt, oh, I'm with her, because they ask who she's with. And the train was barely coming into the station. She could have just fast walked. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's my passport. Here's my credentials, whatever. Here you go, guards. Oh, yeah, she's with me. And then take her, and then boom, right? They can't make them super fast. You can't make those subways super duper fast because that's really dangerous. But instead, she gets onto the train while Offred gets escorted away. So lame. And like, why are you so meek? Even earlier within this episode, it's established that you're not that meek. It's also another flashback that you and your friend like kidnapped this woman and you're doing like some out of character speak, very aggressive. I've never seen her say anything this aggressive before. She kidnapped this woman. She kidnapped this person, and she's being incredibly aggressive towards this person, which I haven't seen at all. Why am I believing she wouldn't have just said, hey, that's the person I'm with? Terrible world building. I was watching the show and I was thinking the entire time, pausing, having to digest every single trash idea that this episode provides. She's choosing to be oppressed. There's the obvious time where she could have clearly escaped. I would have been able to get out of that situation. Not to mention, there's no chance that I would have gone into this situation in the first place. This society happens when you let a woman in charge. Because all the women hate each other, and the women in charge make rules so the younger women who are more fertile than the ones in charge are punished. We get introduced to a couple modes of punishment. Of course, we got the whipping of the feet. She got formally punished by a bitter old hag, the Melanie Mac types, of course. And this bitter old hag is taking pleasure. She's so happy to be doing this. Of course, the commander is asking her to play Scrabble again, and they have a real, quote, heart-to-heart conversation, the closest you can get to heart-to-heart conversation. I was thinking the entire time that they were talking, I was like, I feel like you're going to get killed, you're going to get punished for talking to him in this way. He is asking for a challenge. Oh no, I gotta end this review soon. I think he saw me. Okay, alright. I hope he doesn't call the eyes. I'm under his eye, by the way. Anyway, so it seems like he wants an intellectual challenge and she beats him in Scrabble or whatever, but this is after the failed attempt to have sex. And it's also interesting that nobody's enjoying this. By the fourth episode, I'm still asking myself, who voted for this? During this game of Scrabble, she asks, oh, can you translate this thing that I saw in Latin? And I also, by the way, that while you're asking me to grab a dictionary, I noticed that you have a Latin alphabet. Oh yeah, I learned when I was 12 years old, blah, 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 blah. It was a specific thing that I wrote down in there, blah, 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 blah. It was the same thing that was scratched on the wall. And I was like, geez, this is really risky, but also... So it's implied that Alfred's friend was in that same room, was also in the same room playing Scrabble with him, to the point where she saw that little thing in the book written down and then she scribed it perfectly from memory, I guess? Okay. And it's not even catchy, whatever. It's supposed to be like something roughly translated to don't let the system grind you down. A weird psychotic angle where she's like, oh yeah, you like me being nice and happy, right? Or feeling comfortable rather. And he's like, yeah, it would be a shame if I were to kill myself. She really says that. And then the episode ends with her walking out with all the handmaids, and then like it's not even said in a cool way. The line's not even said in a cool way. It's said in this same every time she narrates, she says stuff in such a whispery way. She's like, oh yeah, yes, I'm so oppressed. Oh, don't get me wrong, the actress is a really good actress. She's I believe this character, but the writing of the show is so bad and the world building's kind of whatever. It's just so cheesy. Latin phrase in this way, bitch. She says it like that. I'm like, Latin sounds cool when you scream it, girl. Come on. Ugh. I had to pause this episode so many times because of how many terrible world building aspects there are. We're even at a point where they say that they're afraid of Canada. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. How could you be afraid of Canada? Oh, that's so funny. Oh boy. It's just this new society are such complete pussies. That's what this society is just establishing. This won't happen. This is absolutely not Trump's America. If you were to enact a law similar to The Handmaid's Tale, the closest would be everybody on the beach has to wear bikinis. That's the closest thing. That's the closest thing that you could get. And that's more revealing. That's not less revealing. Oh my god. This episode sucks. dark, grim. I was noticing that it's just so repetitive, the lighting used, and it's just so dark and grim. Although the end scene is kind of bright-ish. She has hope, brighter than the other scenes, so that's nice. Oh god. If you've ever wanted to watch The Handmaid's Tale, don't. Instead watch these reviews. If you don't care about The Handmaid's Tale, just watch these reviews anyway. I have to warn you about The Handmaid's Tale. All the women in the world be like, oh, this is gonna happen. It's not. It's literally fiction. It's not even good fiction, okay? So I don't like this at all. This episode is worse than the last one. I'm gonna have to give it's a solid, I don't know what I gave the last one, but this one was like a 4.7 out of 10. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Offred is having sex with somebody other than her commander. I'm O'Reilly, and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 5, Faithful. It is directed by Mike Barker, written by Dorothy Fortenberry. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. Why does she have sex with somebody other than her commander? The commander's wife goes to Nick. Nick, by the way, having a crush on her in the previous episodes, has just been very obvious about it. Looking around, ooh, where is she? Oh my goodness, I'm just looking at you. And also, Offred has been noticing this during the entire show. The commander's wife be like, okay, I think he might be infertile. Your time's almost up here, Offred. It's time for you to go have sex with somebody else. And I'm gonna be watching it. And so they go to Nick's house. Nick and Offred have really stale sex, and then they go about their day. I'm thinking, how long is the time period in which they bought Offred and they're about to ditch Offred? What did they have, 12 weeks or something? Speaking of the commander, it's time for ceremony again. I think it's been either 3 months or maybe this is the 3rd day of ceremony and there's a 5-day time period. The show isn't clear how long it's been since the last episode. I wish there was some sort of timeline keeping track of how long she has until she's offered to a new person, or maybe disposed of and taken to the camps or whatever. Anyway, the commander, it's time for the ceremony and he touches her leg. Gets all intimate. And that's not allowed. Why does the handmaid have authority to yell at the commander and say, hey, you're breaking the rules? Isn't he the commander? I feel like this is incredibly risky and the commander be like, oh, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Obviously, the commander wants some sort of connection. He needs connection in order to enjoy the sex and possibly impregnate this Offred right over here. But of course, Offred's like, I'm going to hate the system internally, but enforce it upon others. Hey, you can't be doing this. What's the threat? He is your commander. He can do whatever you want, but the world hasn't said, oh, the commanders are also under the rule of the governments. It hasn't said that. It's just has established that the commanders are rich and wealthy and they own the people. They own all the people, and especially handmaids are trying to have more rich babies, all that fun jazz. That's what this world has established. It has not established the commanders are under lock and key and guns. And the government's going to come in and start attacking you if you touch the inside of a leg of your handmaid. So yeah, I don't like how Offred did that. I don't like how she was like, you can't be doing it, Commander. I can't believe he took anything from her. I can't believe she thought she could do that. And actually she did do it and got away with it. Can the handmaids talk back to the commanders now? Also, she confronts him about her friend, her former friend, and he'd be like, oh yeah, we were trying to make a good old world, a big old better world, and oops, look what it got us. Oh man. I'm interested in the commander though. I wish the show would do more exploring upon his character. I want to know more about him. There seems to be a rebel streak. There is a rebellion streak in him. The fun part about this episode is when it's establishing the connection she's had with people, especially with Nick, her and Nick talking. I think that's pretty cool. There's some human motivation. Finally. Oh my goodness. Commander's wife is willing to break the rules because she wants to have a baby more than wants to follow the rules strictly. And Nick, even though later on it's revealed that he's the eye in this episode, he likes Offred and so is willing to break the rules because he likes Offred and wants to have sex with her, and then actually does have sex with her passionately at the very end of the episode. The episode closes with her going to Nick's house, and then they have some passionate sex. I'm like, oh my goodness, some humanity. Oh my goodness, it took 5 episodes for any humanity to come forward. I can't believe it took that long. Let's go back to my favorite part of the episode, though. Offred's friend, by the way, she's back from being genitally mutilated, and she's talking to Offred, and Offred be like, hey, what's this thing? And, you know, friend's like, well, come join us. What's interesting about Offred, she seems to be the type of person that's very 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and is very much acting like this throughout the entire episode. But she seems to have a curious streak about her, so she definitely wants to learn more. And then that pal, that friend, you know what she does? She grabs a car that was open, hijacks it, starts spinning in circles, driving in circles. What's your plan? Obviously, there's a bunch of police officers there, so they stop her. And then she runs over a guard, and then they just take her, and there goes her friend. That was sudden. Oh geez, I can't believe that just happened. There's a little bit of rebellion there, but that was at a scale in which it's not effective at all. You just kind of look stupid, and no one's going to think about you anymore. Obviously, Offred's going to think about her, and that's going to be the catalyst in which her rebellion happens. Now it's time for color time. I can't believe it, but there's so much darkness in this show. I've mentioned it in other episodes, but it still has the same visual style of being completely shrouded in darkness. Even in the light, I don't know how you get the light so dark, but the show is very successful at doing it. I did notice that during the scene in which the chick was driving the car, vroom, 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 she was being really stupid. She was like, oh yeah, this is quick decision making. All of it was stupid. Why did she do it? I don't know, but it was very emotional. So of course she was making emotional decisions that led to her driving over that person and ultimately killing him. That scene, that was pretty bright. And then when it got closer to the end of that scene, it got darker and darker as there was no hope whatsoever. She's a goner, she's done. I think this episode is definitely better than the last one. I also like the lighting of the last scene. All of the scenes before are very blue in temperature. It's to signify, oh, it's stale, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then you got the warmness in the last scene. It's to signify a connection. That is used intentionally. And by the way, this entire series, I like the cinematography. I like how it's shot. I think it's pretty creative and interesting. I just think the story up to this point has been pretty lackluster, but now we have some human character motivation, and I'm a little bit interested more than I was last episode. I wasn't going like, what is going on here as much? So I think I'd have to give this one, I don't know, it's a 6 out of 10. Do you think Offred is destined to suffer forever because she could have ended her own suffering but didn't? Or do you think differently? Let me know. I'm of Riley, and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 6, A Woman's Place. It is directed by Floria Sigismundi, written by Wendy Parker Hauser. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. A Mexican ambassador comes to the house. There's a chance for Offred to be like, hey, are you happy? And her to be answering that, no, I'm not happy. I'm being forced against my will to do all of this stuff. In front of all the commanders, she says, yes, I am big happy, but then feels super guilty, so she stops the ambassador while she's on her way out. She's having a big cry. Oh, I'm not happy, actually. We're slaves. The ambassador be like, well, I can't do anything about it. I'm just thinking to myself, man, why didn't you stop this person who is clearly more powerful than this nation? Although it seems like they're having some sort of birth crisis. She was convinced with all the babies that were being made, we should have all of these Offreds, off Glens, off whatever, all these handmaids. We should trade these handmaids with Gillian. I wish I cared enough to really remember exactly what it's called, but I remember the name of this nation is somewhat like that. It's unclear the bigness of this nation. Is it all the United States just renamed this nation, or is it like part of the United States? I'm actually very curious. I would like to know. Let me know if I maybe missed some world building. Let me know what it is in the comments below. There's 3 times where there's making out. 3 whole times. Oh my goodness, this is a big horny episode. Also, we learn that the commander's wife, she actually was a big, smart, intelligent lady woman who did the writing, but she's so smart that she was like, I'm gonna push for these things that's happening to women. I'm gonna push for that. And then when it happened to her, oh, you can't get a job, you have to do this and that, blah blah blah. She's like, yep, I'm doing it. I voted for this, so I'm gonna deal with the consequences. It may not be exactly what I want, but I'm gonna deal with it. And I'm like, okay. That shows her character. She's the type of person to stick with her decision, even with all the positive and the negative attributes to it. This episode also fleshes out the relationship between her and the commander, what type of relationship they had before and now what they have now. It seems like they didn't really have a lot of sex now, but they did in the past. Something happened. It's interesting. What a fascinating tale. The commander's wife was a writer, an author. She's no more of that. That's pretty much this episode. It's alright. There's some world building. I really wish it was faster, a whole lot faster. There's something there. It's very clear that June, by the way, we get to expand upon June and Nick's relationship a little bit more through the kissu. June, we get to learn that she has a little bit of a rebellion streak, although she's going to function within the society so she doesn't get instantly killed. And also, in order to be presentable, what's fascinating is the different priorities. The commander's wife prioritizes appearances, so it gets rid of all of the people who do be looking damaged. The aunts, the old hag types, she actually believes in what she's saying. So she's like, what? Wait, we're taking them out of the line? What? And I find that to be pretty interesting. There's something there. I feel like the series so far, it's very up and down with the world building. The pacing throughout is There's some times where I'm like, come on, man, just laughing at the episode. Other times I'm like, oh, actually, there's something here. Alrighty then, let's go, I guess. But overall, I'm like, whatever. Is this anything like Trump's America? No. I gotta give this one, it's a 6 out of 10. Umford thinks her husband's dead. She is wrong. Her husband's alive. This episode's all about his journey. Intrigued? I'm O'Reilly and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 7, The Other Side. It is directed by Floria Sigismundi, written by Lynn Renee Maxey. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. It starts with that car crash from the pilot. Oh yeah, by the way, I have to mention that there's 2 car crashes in the beginning of this episode. We got the first car crash with, by the way, why did they crash? This episode doesn't say why they crashed. I just want to know why they crashed. But of course, he's like, hey you guys have to go, run off, go away, run, please go away, please. June and their child runs, and he's left alone to deal with the cops. And he gets shot, he gets tooketh in the ambulance, and then the ambulance crashes. And the ambulance crashes within walking distance of the car. So I'm like, this is the crashiest road ever. And this doofus is loading the guns in the chamber, and he's doing it all shakily. And he's like, I'm gonna shoot the cops, I'm going too slow in order to shoot them at the right time, and then they shoot me instead. And then he meets with this group of survivalists who are hiding. They're like, okay, we're hiding. And he's like, but what about my wife and kid? And they're like, we have to leave, we have to go. And then they get on this bus, and he's like, I have to get off this bus because I would like to go find my wife and kid. And they're like, no, we're going. I want to get off now. And they're like, no, sit down. And you know, somebody who claims to love their wife and kids, you know, you would act in a way which would make you get closer and closer to finding your wife and kids. Instead, you stay on the bus and continue forward. You didn't have to get picked up. You literally walked back to the crashed car, which you crashed and your wife and kids were there. You don't know where they were taken. Already difficult. Think of a direction they might go. There is no dialogue that's like, okay, I think that my wife and kids, if I go on this bus, then I'll go to where I might think they might be at, right? No dialogue like that. It's just him being like, oh man, I'm sad about my wife and kids. I guess I'll just go on the bus and cross over the border without my wife and kids. And I was thinking, watching this episode, looking at this guy doing his decisions, and I'm like, why? Oh my god. You could have just been dead. But obviously, this TV series needs the husband to be the guy who goes and finds and saves June. Obviously, she's oppressing herself at this point. She's had many opportunities to leave, but she has not. So June's not leaving anytime soon. So we gotta have some sort of external force to get her out. And we have to have the husband alive. But he would have been more dignified if he was dead. Instead, you have him wait 3 years without looking for his wife or child at all. Waiting in Canada in a town called Little America. And you're just having coffee with like other chicks. Wow, this is the sign of a man who really loves his wife and kids so much that you're going to go find them. I'm like, man, I hate this guy so much. He gets a message from June. June was able to give a message to the husband. At the very end of the last episode, it's like, hey, we can contact your husband. And oh, geez, it's windy. So June ends up contacting her husband, and it takes 3 weeks from the end of last episode to the end of this episode in order for him to get the message. Are they using snail mail or something? Like, even snail mail is not as slow as 3 weeks. That's like horse mail. That's really slow mail. How much of a collapse has there been in society? But also, this guy, after reading the words, I love you, save Hannah, he's like bawling his eyes out. I'm like, this is the representation of the husband? This character sucks. He's not looking for his wife and kid at all. It seems like he doesn't even care. And he's really complacent, and he's a major pussy. Also, I forgot to mention, this storytelling is the entire episode starts with the crash, right? And then he finds a gun within the ambulance, his gun, and then it flashbacks to when he bought the gun. But where flashbacks is where they're in the car. I'm like, wait, what? What's the motivated cutting? But the motivated cutting is that this is the instance in which they he buys the gun. Why don't you just start in the yard in which you're buying the gun at? Like, you like match cut the gun, and you're like, okay, here's the gun, I'm selling it to you. That's like better writing, better editing too. This episode is all over the place. And then it goes back, I guess, forward into the back time, and the present past, and then it goes into the past, and then the present past, and then the past. And it's not equal. It's not chronological order. I just wish it was in chronological order. It could have been told in chronological order. Why was it not told in chronological order? Was it so my attention span can keep going or something? The flashback within the past flashback. The flashback is when it first starts, when they're leaving the city. They have to like be in the trunk of this car in order to go to this cabin. And it's pretty secluded, and they can just stay inside, and they're like, okay, we're gonna stay inside, right? They could have just stayed inside, but instead, the plot needs them to be outside looking at the lake. Even though they're explicitly told, hey, you should stay inside for your own protection, and of course, they're motivated to protect themselves, right? But they decide to go outside, and there's no like clear reason why they should go outside, why they need to go outside. They're just outside, and then they get caught by a guy. And it's like presumed that that guy's like really sus, but that guy is like the one who breaks the pieces like, Oh, the cops are in the way. You guys gotta run. You guys gotta run. You guys gotta run. And then they have to leave. Another sign of bad writing. What do the handmaids do in a time of windy weather? I have to ask. I mean, this is doing well now, but get a good gust going up and then boom, this hat is going right off. I feel like it's a lot of happenings, but no character motivations whatsoever. Oh yeah, these characters are the boat, right? The paper boats, and the story, they're on a plot river, and doesn't that happen in The Handmaid's Tale? For real though, if that happened at all in The Handmaid's Tale society, wouldn't your head get chopped off or something? Or wouldn't you get like your genitals cut off or mutilated? Wouldn't that happen? Like, I want to know more. Please, give me more world building. And whatever world building is here, it kind of sucks. And I hate it. Also, I did notice, I swear, the first layer of flashback is like a blue with heavy shadow color throughout all of it, and then the second layer of flashback, and then like present time. So here's the layers. Present time, then the first layer flashback, then the second layer flashback. First layer flashback, I already told you about the colors. Second layer flashback, heavily desaturated. Oh my goodness, there's so much wind! What do they do in the wind? What do the handmaids do in the wind? Give me your theories in the comments below. Also, give me all of your theories in the comments below. Leave me what you think about every Handmaid's Tale episode ever in existence, and what you think about the series overall, what you think about everything surrounding it. Just give me all your opinions. I like reading them, and I like digesting them, and I like reading them a lot. This episode, I was just like, oh god, this is what people think, women think heroism is? Like, let's be real. This is a show for women. And this is a feminine man. This is not like a macho man. This is leagues from a macho man, like a Conan the Barbarian type. Oh my goodness. I think I have to go through this episode. Oh god, I feel like it could have been edited in a different order, and what was filmed could have been better. But because of the way it was edited, it's just overall annoying. I'd have to give this episode, it's a solid 5 out of 10. After 8 grueling episodes, not understanding who could possibly be enjoying this society, with all evidence leading to everybody hating themselves, we finally get an answer to who is enjoying this type of world. Are you intrigued? Well, watch further. I'm Riley, and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 8, Jezebels. It is directed by Kate Dennis, written by Kira Snyder. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. It is very cold. This episode follows the commander of Fred, giving Fred a nice little pretty dress, allowing her to wear makeup, and then taking her out. And he's taking her out to this, what's called like a Jezebel. It's like, it's a strip club, essentially. It's where all the people who couldn't live in this structure, the handmaids, the aunts, the wives, the commander's society, people who couldn't live in that structure, they now live here. And this is where Alfred's friend went. Oh yeah, remember the one that dressed as an ant and then stepped on that train? Yeah, she is now here. She's here. She's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it, you're here, it's amazing. And by the way, during this entire walk, Alfred is wearing like the green robe that the wife would wear, just so that she can like go be passed into places, all that fun jazz. And she's wearing the dress. She looks like she's supposed to be here. She's looking all fancy schmancy, but there are people in this room, in the room in which she goes to, like the bathroom, and she meets her friend there, and her friend walks out of the stalls like, oh my goodness, I have missed you. I'm like, bro, why would you do this here? Find a more private place, you freaking idiots. This place, the setting, the strip club kind of dealio, and the environment of there being a bunch of commanders there with their wives, with a bunch of handmaids there, because other commanders are definitely doing this as well. It seems like people are enjoying this society, but not purely for being the society in which it is. No one's enjoying that part. Nobody likes that. It seems like a lot of the higher-ups are cheating. They're enjoying their lives, they're being debaucherous. This is where these powerful people can unwind and not have to adhere to any of the social stuff. Including, it seems like his wife doesn't know about what happened here. What essentially happens is they go home, they have sex, and then she leaves, goes somewhere else, and the wife returns. So it seems like this is some sort of weird, interesting cheating thing? Is this like a cheating metaphor? Or maybe it's like, oh, men are going to the strip clubs while their wives don't want them to go there or something. I don't know. I don't get it. But it definitely is behind her back. She does not know about it, or maybe she does know about it and isn't going this time. The show doesn't say, but the show is proposing, based on Offred's point of view, that she does not know what's happening. And based on my point of view, I don't know what's happening either. I love how her friend's like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you stayed where you were. I made a terrible decision. Now instead of being a sex slave in a relationship like I was, now I'm a sex slave for a bunch of strangers, which is even worse. Which one would you prefer? Let me know in the comments below. Would you rather be a sex slave for one person or a sex slave for a bunch of people? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I'm finally getting a look on who is enjoying this. It's the people who are comfortable with being dishonest, the people who are comfortable leading like a double life. Obviously, the commander has, I don't know if he has feelings necessarily. I can't tell if his motivation to take her out is social, because like the other commanders would have their handmaids and he'd be like, dang it, I want to have my handmaid with me too. And so he has the handmaid, but he has been showing signs of interest in her. Like, he wants to be intimate, clearly, and he has sex with her without all the hubba bubba with the ceremony stuff. The final scene is her carving into the closet, "You are not alone." It also seems like she's starting to get her own footing into the society. That's my read on this. Or she's exploring, rather, she's more getting into the depths of the society as she's complying and complying. All of her compliance is buying her a lot of social points and therefore a lot of social privileges that I doubt the other handmaids have had access to. Tell me a handmaid that can go to a party like this with their commander. This episode sheds some light on this world. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it took this long. I don't know what else I would say about it other than it finally answered questions that I had. But it also gave me a lot of different questions. Like, I'm curious about what the situation between the commander and his wife are like. Is it some sort of arranged marriage? Well, it's clear it's not an arranged marriage because there have been flashbacks in the other episodes of their life before what happened. But I'm also curious, like, what caused their meeting up? Because we see their relationship before the apocalypse. We don't see them start a relationship. I want to see what that's like. We also see in this episode how Nick became an eye. He got initiated into this whole program, and then he's an eye, and then he was like, hey, you gotta keep an eye on this guy over here, this commander over here. I'm like, okay, so there is an accountability system for the commanders, and that's the eyes. And Nick saw the commander take her out, take Offred out. And then Offred is questioned about this later. Well, in not question, like Nick asked her about it. No, it's Nick and Offred come together. And then Nick's like, hey, how are you? And then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help myself. I had to do what he told me to do. But I'm like, how do you know what he was about to say? You don't know. You feel guilty? Or is this bad writing? You couldn't have known that Nick was there. He was across the street in the shadows, hiding. You did not see him. Some of my questions from before have been answered, but I have a lot more questions now, and I guess that will keep me watching. Oh boy. This was better than the other episodes for sure. This was not abysmal. I was not like, what are you doing? This is terrible. Why would you do this? I was like, oh my goodness, finally. Some sort of plot, but because it took this long, it's not indicative of the show's quality, as in like, towards the good. It's not indicative of the show being good. It's indicative of the show stretching out a tiny book for 5 seasons. How do you do that? Well, with a lot of filler and a lot of slowness. If this was written by a good writer, the whole Handmaid's Tale thing, and also the TV adaptation, if it was done by a good writer, all of my questions would have been answered within the first episode, and I would have had new questions. But now I have new questions now, in this episode 8. That's not a good sign. Alright, what does this get? Would I recommend you watch this? No, don't watch The Handmaid's Tale unless you're a woman. Then, I don't know, you can be like, oh no, we're in Trump's America or something. By the way, we're not in that. On a scale of 1 to 5, we're at like 0. When it comes to coming close to what's happening in the Handmaid's Tale society. Yeah, don't watch this show, but definitely watch my reviews. I gotta give this episode, I don't know, it's like a 5.9 out of 10. This episode is so sad, but is it good? I'm O'Reilly and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 9, The Bridge. It is directed by Kate Dennis, written by Eric Tuchman. If you haven't seen this episode, I'll spoil it for you. I like how this episode starts with Janine. She's being transferred to a different home. She has to give up her baby and just go to a different commander's home. She goes to that different commander's home, and they have the first night of ceremony, and she freaks out, and she's like, no, my baby. This is the first we've ever seen in this series the emotional toll it takes on a woman to be separated from their baby. Man, what a terrible system. You think that a woman who wrote this, Margaret Atwood, who wrote the Handmaid's Tale book, that this series is adapted from, you think that she would know the troubles of separating a woman from her baby. And she's like, okay, I know these troubles. It's time for me to write everybody being separated from their babies. What a terrible world this is. I hate the world, but I do like seeing the humanity within this terrible world. Offred's like, hey, can I help with Mayday? There's a bunch of little handmaids at the house in which the Janine, you know, the chick without the eye, she's giving up her daughter. There's a bunch of handmaids there to be like, yeah, you did it, good job, woo! Even though it's very sad, oh my goodness. She'd be like, Mayday, and the other chick be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then later, that same chick be like, oh yeah, Mayday, right? What? Huh? Says Offred. You have to go to Jezebel's to get the package. When? Tonight. Oh, what? Okay. The chick who has Janine's baby, she's complaining about taking care of it, versus the commander of Offred's wife. She's like, you should be appreciative. Man, I wish I had a baby. Hopefully soon we'll have a baby. Who knows? Speaking of the commander, Offred goes down to the commander's office. You know, it's chilling. The commander's like, what are you doing here? She'd be like, I had so much fun, right? And of course, the commander likes her, so he's like, okay, I'll entertain you, okay. But here's the thing about the show's writing. I can't tell whether she's a Mary Sue who can convince everybody to do her own bidding, or she's just really good at getting people to do what she wants. Either way, she talks to the commander, and the commander agrees to take her to Jezebel's tonight. Oh, so convenient. If it were a better written show, there would have been some conflict like, well, I can't take you tonight. Well, how are you going to get that package now? Why is the package so time sensitive? Those are just a few questions that went through my mind watching this episode. They go to Jezebel's, they have a big old sex, the commander and Offred. And the commander's like, oh, I saw friends of yours last time. You guys were talking to each other. Well, I've arranged for you guys to meet. Here you go, have a talk. And they have like a big old they have a big old fight. Basically, she's no longer Moira, she's Ruby. And she's a sex slave like the other ones, but instead of being a sex slave in a relationship, she's a sex slave for anybody, really.
She's like a stripper or a prostitute kind of dealio. But also, Offred's like, I thought you died. I'm like, why? Why do you think she died? There's no indication of her being dead at all, ever. She went on the train. As much as you know, she got out successfully. And then you were surprised to see her at the Jezebels. I was also surprised, like, wait, how did you get caught? But I do think she deserves it. She deserves to go to the Jezebels because she left Offred there. She left Offred to just be there. I ranted about this a couple reviews back. The whole train scene where she just leaves Offred there. You could have been able to just go together. But I guess we need a reason for Offred to stay and observe what's happening in the society. At some points I'm like, oh, is this getting good? And then the next scene or the next line, I'm like, wait, what? Why do you think that? Where is your logic? Why are you so good at talking to people? The show doesn't really dive into that part of her personality. If it did, I would believe her ability to convince people more. I feel like this show walks the fence of the main character being a Mary Sue. I hate fence walking. Just be a Mary Sue or not. This episode also shows the commander's wife just not being able to sleep. She drinks with the Martha, and the Martha reveals that she had a 19-year-old son that died in the war. Wow, that's sad. I know you're trying to establish them as all people, right? But like, did her eggs dry up too fast and now she can't reproduce or something? What do you think would be better, to be a Martha or a handmaid in this society? A Martha just does like chores and such, dishes, whatever. It's a slavery or servant, but the handmaids, they're actual sex slaves. The commander's wife sees the commander coming up. It's late. He's like, yeah, it is late. You're correct about that. I wonder how often this happens. There definitely does seem to be a hint of a divide happening. I don't know if they're going to get divorced or if they're allowed to get divorced. They are very powerful people, very rich individuals. Here's the scene in which pissed me off the most in this episode. It's also in which the episode is titled after. Janine is like having her baby standing on the edge of the bridge. She's like, I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna do it. Why did you bring a handmaid here? Oh, but they're friends. Don't you guys have people who can professionally talk people off of bridges? We have them in our world. Why don't you have them in your world, where everybody's being forced to be a slave of some sort, especially the handmaids? The handmaids are the most likely to commit suicide, so you gotta have somebody professional come, not just another handmaid. You don't know what she's going to do. You don't know if she's going to jump as well as this other handmaid. But Janine gives Offred the baby, and then she just jumps off the bridge. I like this show even is like, oh, we have to explain why Offred's here, by Aunt Lydia being like, but they're friends. That moment shows another side of Aunt Lydia. She's human. She really believes in the whole society that they live in, but she also believes in friendship. Okay. And the episode ends with Offred. She goes to the market, she gets some meat, and I guess there's a package there. Is this the post office now? Come on, come on! What is the butcher doing giving a package? Also, the show shows me that, I guess the handmaids do the shopping and the sexing. The Marthas do the cleaning and all the prep work and everything. The aunts are just there to, I don't know what they're there to do. I don't know, establish the society or at least teach incoming handmaids how to be a handmaid. Doesn't even show her opening the package. I guess next episode is going to show what's in the package. Offred was asking Moira, hey, can you give me that package? She's like, no, I don't want to get that package for you. She ends up getting the package. You know, like women do. It's a woman trait. Overall, this episode has got me flipping and flopping between the emotions. One moment I'm like, oh, this is all right. Next moment I'm like, wait, this doesn't make sense. I shared all of my opinions. This show is directed well, lit well. The lead actress is a good actress. Everything about the show except for its writing is good. I just, don't like this show's writing that much. And the writing of a show really impacts whether I like it or not. I did notice that a lot of the scenes were in the dark. So many scenes in the dark. Even the daytime outside scenes were in the dark. The only moment of brightness is when you open those doors, when the commander's wife opens those doors into the commander's office and he's not there. It's very brightly lit. And I'm like, wait, why is this so brightly lit? Everything else is so dark. Also, I should mention that Nick keeps driving the commander and Offred to the Jezebels, and he looks like he's feeling a little jealous. I wonder what he's gonna do about it. Oh God, don't like this episode that much. I'll have to give it, it's a 6. out of 10. This is the season finale of this season, and oh boy, there's finally something happening. I'm in Salad, and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 10, Night. It is directed by Carrie Skullgland, written by Bruce Miller. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. This episode follows the commander's wife. Oh yeah, by the way, her name is Serena. She finds out about the visits to the Jezebels that the commander and Offred have been doing. And of course, she gets really angry. This is a really cool shot. We see Offred, she has this package, she hides the package from the last episode, and then she walks down the stairs and then immediately just slapped in the face, and you got the ricochet causes her head to crash into like the side of the wall, and that leaves like a big gashing wound. And Serena's like, after everything I've done for you, I can't believe it. And I'm like, have you ever considered why your commander doesn't want to take you here? Like, maybe you're the problem. I know that you created all the rules in which that women can't do Scrabble, but your commander, you're the commander, the one that you answer to, by the way, he's letting the chick play Scrabble, and Serena can't because she made the laws which made it so women can't do that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. This woman just got played by herself. And of course, she's like really annoyed. She's really sad, but she's also like, okay, take this pregnancy test. Take it. Do it now. Do it now. And, you know, she forces her to take this pregnancy test. And, like, how long does a pregnancy test take in order to have the results come? Because it's, like, so dramatically long. It's really funny. It's like, oh, my goodness. I can't believe it. You're pregnant. Well, praise be. And then, you know what she freaking does? She takes her to her daughter, but, like, has her in the car and shows her daughter, just be like, she's having a good time, right? And she's like, come on, let me out, let me out. The freaking childproof locks are on the door. I'm like, haha, get wrecked. And then Serena, she's like, oh yeah, your daughter's doing fine. And if you keep my daughter fine, then you will have your daughter fine. And I'm like, that's a threat, but also what an evil, terrible person. Oh my God, I absolutely hate her. She's evil. But also, you gotta look at the spouses. They're together for a reason. They have some similar qualities, they have some different qualities, but ultimately they have like similar aspects to themselves. So that makes it so the commander is definitely evil. If the wife is evil, women are just more outwardly evil, you know? Just the men, they just do things. And then women, they be vindictive. And the way in which women are vindictive is a quality to observe, because it'll talk about their character. That's how you know about their character. It's also really funny. Serena's like, oh yeah, this is not even yours, Fred. Like saying that to really sting him. And you're like, God didn't want you to reproduce. I'm like, oh my God. This episode has a lot of like harsh hitters coming out of the woodwork. Like, you know, you got a little bit of build up from the past season, and then this episode, you just take all the full stop. Pew, 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 pew. So many slaps, so many punches that are not held back. And I'm like, finally, it took a season to do this. I will say the show is smart for the structuring of seeing what it's like for another pregnant woman, what treatment she gets, how the society treats her, and then how the society treats her after like she's given birth and it's time for her to give up her child. Also, by the way, Janine, the one without the eye, she jumped off of that bridge last episode, but she survived. And so Aunt Lydia is like, okay, you guys, it's time for you to stone her. And nobody throws a stone. Like, one person's like, I don't want to throw a stone, and then they get hit with the back of a rifle, and they get dragged away. And then Offred's like, nope, and then she drops the stone. I'm like, you know what, this is actually a pretty heroic moment. And then everybody else follows suit, And Aunt Lydia's like, well, you guys are going to be punished. You guys will be punished majorly for this. Just you wait. Just you wait. Also, what's in the package? It's just a bunch of women's testimonials. Like, yeah, my son was taken away. Or my daughter was taken away. And I'm like, okay, cool. So this is how women gain strength. Here is the key difference between how women gain strength versus how men gain strength. Men gain strength from within. Like, you power up. That's like animes are really good representation. You power up, whoop, and then you get real big, and then big old punch. And that's how men defeat the enemies. But women, they have to get like validation from other women in order to do anything of any kind. They have to be proven that they're right. Okay, I think I'm right because other women have said that I'm right, but you know what? I'm the type of woman to get things wrong, so I don't know if I'm wrong about this unless other women who are also mostly wrong are correct about this. It's like a whole communal thing. Versus men have like internal strength, women have a community they base their strength off of. We also found out what happened to Moira. She crossed the border into Canada, and guess what? Offred's husband is there, Luke. And so they have a good old time. What's interesting is they give just so much money. Oh yeah, in this woman fantasy, if you cross into Canada, they'll give you all the things for free, like health insurance, $400 in cash, some like car insurance. Anything you can think of, they give for free. And I'm like, what? I don't even get that for free. Why is Canada giving refugees why are you giving these people money? I also like how there's like a black van coming. Oh, come here, Offred. We're gonna take you in the black van. And Nick's like, all right, trust me, you gotta go with them. And the Waterfords are like, wait, what's going on? What's going on? We didn't consent to this. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. You know what? I was surprised at the quality of this episode, not gonna lie. I'm actually excited for season 2 just because I think that she's gonna get the special treatment now. And my prediction is that Moira is gonna come for her, and so is Luke. They're gonna come and rescue her. That's my prediction for a season. I don't know if it'll be season 2, but that's what they're gonna be doing. I also think that season 2, they're gonna like gain the confidence. Ow. I have noise sensitivity issues. Anyway, they're going to gain the confidence to get her. At some point, they're going to rebel, but June Offred is going to be very happy about the baby and her treatment. I don't think she's going to be as happy about the baby as she is the treatment that she gets. She's going to be treated with nicety and love, but she's going to have to go through the pain of childbirth again. I'm excited for season 2. Have you seen any of The Handmaid's Tale? Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. I've got to give this episode, it's a 7 out of 10. If you like this, if you watch another on the platform, likes at $20 Dinos, patreon.com/ASpresents for 1 movie review for 1 month if I haven't reviewed it on the channel. There's a chance I haven't seen it all, so get the Patreon request at patreon.com/ASpresents. Support the Daily Grinders, check out autistabooze.com so you can go here. And until next time, in Salad Saw, I'll see you to my sad guns and bacon bits. Goodbye.